This is taken in Shanghai, in the Tagore family's mansion. 9 major religions assembled to greet him, while the Chinese homegrown musicians struck up a version of the most popular American song of the day. Now, the Chinese who led bands, played in villages, you know, they just were interested in the tune. They had no idea what the song was about. They had no idea what the words were. They liked the tune, they would play. And this was the words. Yes, we have no bananas today. They had no idea what the song was. In May, Tagore celebrated his birthday in Peking. He was invited to meet the ex-emperor Puyi in the Forbidden City. He was the first foreigner to have the honor. The Chinese elite conferred on him the title of Chu Chen Tan, meaning the thundering dawn of India. And later he went to pay homage to the tomb of Confucius. Tagore was so overwhelmed with that recognition that he would not forget this reception until the day he died. In 1921, he visited Denmark, Sweden, and Germany. In all these countries, as later in France, he was received with almost incredible honor. His lecture rooms were cramped and his plays were received with wild applause. Tagore enjoyed a bigger reputation outside than in his native land of Bengal. Here is a typical example of a Bengali critic. He was born in Bengal, but in a Europeanized atmosphere, in which there was hardly any indigenous elements. I am sure his fame will fade, and in the annals of our literature, he will be remembered only as the head of a school that drew the inspiration from foreign sources. Hardly any official event in this country passed without Tagore's participation. The first session of the Indian National Congress was held in 1886. Tagore composed a social poem on the occasion. In 1912, Tagore composed Jana Gana Mana, the national anthem, and it became India's national anthem, and it still is today. He sang it first in March at his residence in the presence of Gandhi. In 1927, Tagore traveled to the east and came to Singapore. In an address to the school children and teachers and the Victoria Theatre, Tagore spoke about his city. He spoke about his emphasis on open-air classes. It is highly likely that this was the year the poet was honored by having several streets named after him. And this little story is kind of funny. I had no idea there was any street named after him. And I asked a friend if he would, he was a good photographer, if he would please take some pictures from. And he said, oh yes, oh I don't mind. When is it? So I told him the date. When the date came, he said somebody was sick in his family, and this one was sick, and that one he did. And what to do, I had no idea. I don't know what to do. So I just came outside and hailed the first taxi I could. And I said, you know what Tagore Street is? Yes, yes. Okay, I said, when you get there, there are a few of Tagore streets. Every time you see a Tagore street, stop the taxi, I'll take a picture and get again on another one and pick how whatever they are, I'll take all the pictures. This is a crazy lady. So then, I did just that. And you see how nice they came. Those dishes that they sell at Tagore Lane. You know, they've never been to this where they sell dishes. The Shah of Iran invited Tagore to visit this country. His 70th birthday was celebrated with a garland of 70 roses. Tagore wrote, Iran, the roses of your garden and the birds of your country have declared the birthday of a poet from a far-off land. Tagore first met Einstein This is 47. Tagore first met Einstein on July 14, 1930. In the second half of 1930 in Berlin and in New York. It was interesting to see Einstein and Tagore together. Einstein understood English but spoke in German. Tagore the poet with the head of a thinker, and Einstein the thinker with the head of a poet. They spoke of lofty things of truth and beauty and religion. Tagore and Albert Einstein met altogether 4 times. Einstein also visited Singapore years ago. Tagore's links with Chinese people continued till the end of his life. This is Su Beihong, one of the foremost painters. In 1940, he invited Su Beihong, one of China's leading famous painters, to visit India and lecture at his university. Su Beihong, celebrated for his painting of horses, was fond of listening to Tagore's voice, reciting poems or singing whenever it would move him. I'm sorry about this, this was scratched. And it is here in India that he perfected the style for which he gained fame. Of all Beihong's paintings, Tagore selected 300 choice ones. The artist visited Singapore 5 times. I have this book at home. Tagore began to paint when he turned 70. His paintings were rather weird. This is Su Beihong's horses. There are many of them I have here. This is Su Beihong. This is Tagore's paintings. They're really weird. And only he understood what they meant. Here are some of them. Here's miscellaneous photos and faces of Tagore. This is Helen Keller. Su Beihong, celebrated for his paintings of horses, was fond of listening to Tagore's voice, reciting poems or singing whenever it would move him, while the artist would draw sketches of portraits of the poet. While in India, Su Beihong went galloping on horseback on the vast plain and reached places as far as Kashmir. He was spellbound with the graceful figure of the horse, and it is here in India that he perfected the style for which he gained fame. This is his painting of Tagore. Tagore selected 300 choice ones. The artist visited Singapore 5 times. Tagore began to paint when he turned 70. His paintings were weird, as I said, and only he understood what they meant. Here are some. Here are some miscellaneous photos and faces of Tagore. I told you before, I have so many pictures of him.